Before the review starts, I'm going to go over the controversy that surrounded Pragmata upon release. So if you want to skip straight to the review, I'll have chapters set up so you can skip to the gameplay section. The fact that Pragmata supposedly made a lot of young people want to have kids because of the cute dynamic between the kid and the main character, it upset a lot of degenerates like the profaned Hassan Piker, who attacked unfuckable gamers for liking the game, as he claims they'll never be able to get a woman to have kids anyway.
What's really interesting about this is all of these unfuckable losers in the gaming sphere always talk about like starting families and stuff. And I don't understand like why this has become a thing that they care about. Like, if you're a gamer, you should care about things that you actually experience. You should care about things that you actually enjoy, right? If you're a fucking lonely gamer who has never been around a woman and will never have sex with a woman, why do you care? Like, why do you care about having children or like riding for having children? Like, if they changed hot Cheetos, if they changed the recipe of hot Cheetos, if they changed the recipe of like, I don't know, Dr. Pepper or something, and you fucking freaked out about that, that makes sense, right? Like, that's precisely what your life is about. But as far as like LARPing about starting families and whatnot, this is something that I never understand. It just doesn't make any sense to me because it's just not something that you're going to experience ever for your life, for the rest of your life, right?
Kaya, come on! Don't disrupt my stream, you stupid, worthless infidel dog!
As retarded as this claim is, it's also extremely idiotic to say that people shouldn't play games that contain stuff that you can never have because, you know, don't dream about anything, don't ever want anything. You will own nothing and be demoralized forever, chud. A lot of people also claim that the game was pedophilic, even Hassan in the aforementioned clip, simply due to the fact that a child robot is in the game, despite there only ever being a father and child dynamic between the main character and the android. I will say, however, even though I do think labeling the game as pedo bait or outright pedophilic is retarded, they do oddly keep showing the kid barefoot and constantly focus on them in cutscenes. Okay, really? Wow. So epic. So powerful. Dude, Rip, what the fuck, bro? Can we stop showing the feet for 5 seconds? Which is a little odd. Another group of complainants were lonely single women and anti-natalist types because they despise children and claim that even seeing children in media is right-wing propaganda. One feminist was so bold as to claim men are incapable of loving and caring for a child or have parental instincts the way women do for children, especially when it's not their biological child. This chick works or worked for Timcast, and if you know who that is, well, I'm just throwing that out there. I hate to break it to the delusional women who actually think this, but I am a man, and I can confirm that this is not true. Don't take my word for it. According to a report from the BBC, more young men reportedly desire having kids than young women. This really doesn't even need to be proven wrong because every man and woman with a brain knows this woman is just very, very lonely and has issues with men because her father wasn't present in her life. And yes, she looks exactly like how you'd imagine. Regardless of that, this is rich considering women love to tear the limbs off of their babies in the womb and then gloat about the murder they just committed. You can clearly see this monumental maternal instinct in a lot of these women, obviously. As much as these self-hating commies spurging over a pro-natalist game makes me want to automatically love the game, I don't. and I'm not in the mindless shilling business, so here's an honest take on the game, Pragmata. First, we'll talk about the gameplay, because that is the most important aspect of any video game. There's platforming mechanics and dodge mechanics, jumping over attacks, air dash, and a normal dash/dodge. They're pretty solid, and they keep you on your feet without being overly complicated. There's a hacking system for puzzles and in combat. You can have special nodes that you can use during this hacking minigame that open up the enemy to a certain type of debuff. There's a pretty huge variety of weapons in this game. There's a bunch of weapons with limited uses, because that's how the weapon system in this game works, plus a pistol with infinite ammo, which adds a lot of variety in the game. You have the pistol, which is there for when you want to take out basic enemies or run out of your weapons with limited ammo. You can also replace this pistol with a machine gun later on with infinite ammo that you can put out better DPS, but has a lot more recoil and less critical shot damage. For the limited use weapons, there are some you can unlock for like New Game Plus or unlock in other ways, so I'll only touch on the main weapons that you will get when you play through the game for the first time. Shockwave gun, which is the shotgun, and I used it for like my entire playthrough. I think everyone knows what a shotgun is, but massive damage in close range with a pellet spread. The charge piercer, which is like a railgun, deals massive precision shot damage. The photon laser, which is like a laser minigun kind of, that you hold on a target and the beam heats up and the damage goes up the longer you hold it on a target. I also use that for the majority of my gameplay. Homing missiles, basic homing lock missile launcher, pretty good. The riot blaster, which is a grenade launcher that knocks enemies back. Sticky bombs, never used it, but I imagine it just shoots sticky bombs that you can detonate. The drone hive, which releases little drones that do laughable damage, but stun enemies sometimes, so I guess that's the use for them. Although there's no reason to use this one over the decoy generator or the impact barrier, which I'll get to those two and some other utility focus options in a minute. At the end of game section, enemies have dead Luna filament on them, and you have to use Diana's new power to disrupt the dead Luna filament to do damage. Really, I could take it or leave it. It doesn't add that much variety to it, and honestly kind of is just a nuisance. The bosses are pretty fun, but are not very unique in the visual department. All of them are uninspired looking futuristic white robots, none of which are really that memorable, and I doubt anyone will even be able to remember any of them in a month or two. The game also only has one finishing move for some reason, so it'll get repetitive to watch real quick. There's too much combat dialogue, just like every modern game that gets released, that undermines serious moments or just when the gamer wants to have some peace. Specifically, later on in the game, Diana gets fatally wounded and is on her deathbed, and then the next second you're running through combat yelling, "Yeah, take that!"
Here it comes! Look out!
Scary soul.
Look out!
Step up!
Shoot now!
It really ruins the tone of some parts of the game, and is just aggravating. The game runs very well, surprisingly. The optimization is on point, although I do have a 4070, so take that with a grain of salt. The game is about 10 or so hours long, which is a good thing, as most modern games overstay their welcome to a ridiculous degree. I don't need to play an uninspired linear game for 300 hours. So I really wish developers would take note of this and not make their games so damn long. Like, seriously. Now to basically my only complaint with the gameplay, but it's a big one. The difficulty is ridiculously easy. There are so many crutch weapons and tools like the stasis net that freezes enemies in place so you can kill and damage them while they stand there helpless. The impact barrier, which creates a bubble in which no enemy can attack you and can't enter the bubble for a whopping 40 seconds. And it has 2 uses before it breaks. 80 seconds that are just free damage and ad clear. The decoy generator lasts just as long, and that pulls the aggro of every nearby enemy while you can attack and damage them while they totally ignore you. Freeze hacking nodes, which is pretty self-explanatory. It freezes enemies in place like the stasis net, but one at a time, unless you use the multi-hack in conjunction with freeze, in which you can freeze multiple enemies. Then you have the confuse hacking node, which makes whatever enemy you hack attack other enemies and ignore you. Combine all of this with the ridiculously easy enemy AI, and the entire game is a cakewalk. Well, until the end. The final boss is dialed up like 10 times as much as the rest of the game. I died once before this, and it was me goofing up, not getting killed by a boss or an encounter. And this boss wasn't extremely hard, but the bosses in this game last quite a long time, like 10 minutes or longer in some cases. So despite only dying twice to this final boss, it took me like 30 to 40 minutes to beat him, which is quite annoying. And the boss really isn't anything special. It is horribly telegraphed, and the cherry on top is that all of the crutches I just listed just do not work. And the only one that does is the stasis net that also has its effectiveness nerfed. Decoys and the impact barrier seem to get broken instantly. As for the hacking nodes, I don't really know if all of them work because I was only using the damage ones, not the utility focused ones. Before someone comments this, and I'm sure someone already has, just don't use the OP shit, bro. It is human nature to gravitate to the OP shit, and is indicative of bad game design. It would be the same as someone saying, this cake is too sweet, and you responding with, just don't eat the frosting. The complaint is about how the cake was made, not if you could pick around or scrape off the icing. The expectation is that the cake was made balanced as a whole, sweet but not too sweet. This in turn also applies to video games, and does negatively impact the game. Most people are not going to self-impose restrictions on themselves while playing video games. Does that mean them complaining about tools in said game being overly tuned, and thus making the game a cakewalk is moot? Of course not. Now for the story. The game opens with you arriving on the moon with your team of astronauts to inspect a new material discovered called lunum ore that is made into Luna filament, which is able to replicate any item using its data. After it teaches you the mechanics, there's a moonquake, and your entire team dies except you. You are rescued by a little girl that is revealed to be a robot called a Pragmata. After getting back on your feet, you're attacked by rogue robots. Soon after, you find out basically everyone on the moon has been killed by assumingly the seismic tremor and the killer robots, who have for some reason targeted humans on the moon. Now it's important to note that this is the setup or hook of the game. The player wants to find out what happened. Why have the tremors happened, and why did the robots turn on the humans? Now let's play a little game. Why do you think all the humans on the moon perished? Do you think A, there were secret ancient aliens under the moon that were released due to excavations of the new ore? B, corporate negligence? C, a containment breach that should have been impossible? Or D, Luna filament, but bad? If you guessed Luna filament but bad, you would be correct, ladies and gentlemen. Seriously, that's the explanation. And also, the good Luna filament is white, and the bad Luna filament is black. What did Capcom mean by this?
What is this place? What's with these bodies?
I think this black stuff got them.
Just like in real life, am I right, fellas? I don't even think it's explained how dead filament, which is the bad Luna filament, was made. But don't take my word on it, because I stopped reading the little tablets about an hour in after reading dumb little entries about like how a woman ducked a chud because she didn't want to talk to him. So that is a pretty dumb explanation, but okay. Why did the robots turn on the humans? Well, a rogue Pragmata just told him to kill every human on the moon.
Edith, calculate the potential risks.
Intervention by Cradle personnel at 87% probability.
Then eliminate them.
Understood.
Really? That's the best you could come up with, Capcom? Not to mention that both of these points are dropped on you at the last stretch of the game. There's no build-up or suspense at all. No, you just stumble into a room and a video of the Pragmata telling Eidos, the AI software, to kill all the humans. And I guess you can make the case that the little bushes of dead filament in the sections before you can get Diana's upgrade to destroy them are build up. But it really isn't, considering you have no idea what it is. The only thing I thought when I saw them was, oh, I'll be able to destroy that later to get the collectibles inside. It's a very bare bones story, so I'm not going to touch on every little thing, and mainly just focus on Hugh, Diana, and 8. Because it really is just the beginning setup and the end section where anything of value of the story is shown. In between them, it was literally just dead air. Diana is the child you carry around for the game that does the hacking for you. She got her memory wiped before you met her, so she doesn't remember stuff, but at some points in the game, when Hugh tells her about stuff on Earth, she suddenly can tell you facts about it despite not knowing what it was. This obviously doesn't make sense as her memory was wiped. If they were going for a she was uncorrupting her memories when she was reminded of them type of thing, they did a poor job at portraying it, because at some points when Hugh asks about her remembering their first interaction, she says she doesn't have a memory like a human, rather she stores it in like a folder. So this makes zero sense. She couldn't be remembering forgotten memories because she has no memory. She just stores stuff in like her hard drive or some shit because she is a robot. Hugh has no real character outside of his relationship with Diana. At the start, he hints at him not wanting kids or a wife is a regret that he holds, and that's about it. He bonds with Diana, and by the end of the game, she's basically his fake robot daughter. 8 is another Pragmata, which you meet like halfway through the game, that turns evil. She was modeled after one of the lead scientist's daughters, whose name was Dr. Higgins. It turns out that Dr. Higgins' daughter was sick with dead filament and died due to other scientists doing tests on her, and in the process killing her. Do they explain why the scientists would do experiments on another scientist's daughter? Nope. Maybe they do in one of the hidden data entries that I didn't read, but you'd expect something that integral to the story to be explained in the main story. But I digress. This is where Diana was made. She was meant to be a Pragmata developed to destroy dead filament, which she eventually is able to when you bring her to a lab to learn it. Because obviously, Hugh is smarter than state-of-the-art scientists, bro. Anyway, 8 was created in the image of his deceased daughter by Dr. Higgins. And in his dying breath, he tells it to spread dead filament to Earth, because he wants to kill everyone as recompense for his daughter dying, I guess. This is quite frankly some of the most retarded writing I've ever seen in a video game. So 8 caused the seismic tremors and told Eidos, the facility's AI, to kill everyone. Hugh and Diana rush to stop 8 with their newfound power to destroy dead filament, and they do so in the final boss fight. But the shuttle to Earth is destroyed, and the only way to get to Earth is through a small escape pod that has to be launched from the outside, so Hugh sacrifices himself to save the toaster made to look like a human child, and the game ends. I'll just be frank. The story is atrociously bad. It's terribly uninspired, falls flat on the attempted plot twist near the end with 8 and the scientists, and has a shit ton of plot holes, like the fact that 8 had admin controls, considering Eidos listens to her telling it to kill all of the humans on the moon, but earlier in the game, she was trapped by Eidos and needed you to rescue her from the AI that she supposedly controls. Alright, schizoid time. I can't be the only one that notices in all of these pro-natalist games, the child is never the protagonist's biological child. In fact, in this game, the child isn't even a child at all. The Last of Us, Ellie isn't Joel's child. Death Stranding, the baby isn't Sam's baby. Even as far back as Tall Tale The Walking Dead, Clem is not Lee's child. And now this game, which is, I'm calling it now, a part of some transhumanism social programming to ease in the idea that maybe you shouldn't have kids and a robot kid would be just like an actual live, breathing and living child. And if you think this is a crazy ass theory, maybe you're right. Or maybe you should look at Japan where people are already marrying fucking projections of fake women. Subscribe and like the video or you will be chemically castrated and forced to father a robot child. That's all I got for today though. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, don't you dare go hollow. I also have $1 memberships.